Australia Day Eve, time to hand out some awards. G'day guys, Beer Healer here and happy Australia Day to you all. So as I'm sitting here at the shack in these beautiful surroundings sipping on this beer, I'm thinking to myself, I've had some sensational beers this year. So I thought in the tradition of the Australia Day Awards that are handed out to deserving Australians every year for what they've done in the past year, I would do it myself this year and hand out some Australia Day Beer Healer Awards. Far less prestigious than those handed out by the Prime Minister, but I'm sure the recipients will cherish the fact that they've had an award that they've won from my good self. It's been a massive year for craft beer in Australia. So many new breweries popping up, and the ones that have been around for 2 and 3 years are really starting to cement their reputations and producing some sensational beers for us all to enjoy. Now, I've just got to say that these beer awards are based on my own experiences. Remember, I live in Tassie, so despite my best efforts, I just don't get to see some of the beers that you guys see in the major population centres, the hotspots like Sydney and Melbourne, you lucky bastards. So anyway, just keep that in mind as I present to you the Beer Healer 2017 Australia Day Awards, which are really for stuff that's happened in 2016. But anyway, let's get on with it. So first up, I've got my social media award, and these guys are kind of sport with their natural surroundings, and they take full advantage of that, sharing their awesome pics of their environments any chance that they get, those lucky bastards. They've got a really great mix of information and product stuff, promotion, and really cool things that they share on their Instagram and Twitter sites, and I really do enjoy watching their feeds. So congratulations to Stone and Wood Brewing. Now, runner-up go to my friends at Batch Brewing Company for their kooky, lo-fi videos with their cheeky grins, the dodgy statistics, the cheesy looks at camera, and all that sort of stuff that's so bad it's good. And I also love the fact how they've been doing some hip-hop puns lately for their fruit beers. Righto, so next up is the Comeback Brewery of the Year. And this one goes to a brewery who in late 2015 was sold to a larger ownership group. And the traditionalists were like, nah, fuck them, it's all going to go to shit and we're not going to drink their beer anymore, which is kind of a pretty typical sort of reaction for most beer nerds when this kind of things happens. But it's not something that I'd subscribe to. Anyway, I reckon those people must be eating their words after the stellar year that the GOAT have had. They've given a big FU to all the DAOs as they continue to produce some really great consistent beer in their regular range and smashed it out of the park with their limited releases. The Zimmergist, the Barley Wine, the Barrel Aged Stout, the Blood Orange IPA and the Christmas Ale are all massive hits with the beer nerds. So take a bow, brewers, sales staff, marketers and the rest of the team at GOAT. You have had a massive year this year and have really deserved it and have proved that even though your ownership may change, the heart of the brewery still remains the same. So, favourite limited release. Now, limited releases are pretty hard to get in Tasmania, but I'm really glad that this one turned up. It was a little black box of 4 beers that was given to me on my 40th birthday, made with love by the Manly Four Pines Brewing crew. I'm a lover of dark beers, and I absolutely loved every single one of these beers that I had from that box, so many thanks to my mate Scott, who gave me that present on my 40th. Now, there are also a lot of others that I could have chosen from here. There's been heaps of weird and wonderfuls that I tried at Gabs, or things like the polarising Hop Dog Beerworks Cherry Bomber, or the simpler one like the Exit Brewing 014 Pale Ale. It was a really great year for beer releases, so congratulations to everybody. I'm not actually sure how many there were in total, but there must have been an absolute stack. Best new brewery. This one's a really hard one to judge. It takes a really long time to get a really new brewery up and established and running. So I'm sort of going to point out a few breweries that I think have made really good starts for different reasons. First up, Bolter. They arrived on the scene with a massive splash, thanks to the 4 surfers behind the label, including 2 world champs in Fanning and Parkinson. Now, they've lived up to the hype, it seems, in my opinion, because they produce some really sensational beers and they're making them in cans, so well done to those guys. Another one, I'm really loving seeing what Bench Spoke is doing as they take that next step this year. They've opened up their new home, the Cannery, and even though they've been around for a few years, I still think they're doing some great things. And lastly, a great new little brewery in my home state. It's right in the heart of the tourist-friendly Hobart waterfront, and which is a stroke of genius for these guys. It's called the Hobart Brewing Company. They produce some sensational beers and really starting to build up a really good following of locals and others, tourists as well. Now, if they can just find a way to ship their beer to the mainland without having to do their ass with all the travel costs and the shipping. But anyway, at the moment they're on a winner, so congratulations to all those new breweries. Mr. Consistent, probably not going to be a surprise to many of you. One of the hottest breweries on the Australian scene right now, about to celebrate their 3rd birthday in the coming weeks, and they have not suffered from growing pains at all, well, that I could see anyway. They are producing some of the tastiest and most consistent beers going around that I'm, in my opinion anyway. When I pick up a Pirate Life can, I kind of know what I'm going to get. I've got confidence in their ability that they're going to produce a great, consistent beer, and it's going to have a great taste, which is something I think that all brewers aspire to. So congratulations to the boys at Pirate Life. Quirky little award, this one. I'm calling this the New Beginnings Award, and for this one I'm going to give a shout out to my mate who lives in the north of Tasmania in a small picturesque town called Evandale. His name's Will Tatchell and he runs Van Diemen Brewing, and despite all of the challenges of running a brewery that has access to probably 5% of the people that most of the bigger breweries in the larger markets have access to, he's still very quietly going about his business and building a brand that he can really be proud of. So his brewery sits on a family farming land, which is kind of both a blessing and a challenge. He's a pretty long drive from most of the pubs that do pour his beer, but he's really starting to use his farming land to his advantage. If you check out his website for a sec, you'll be able to see that he's grown his own hops and barley and exploring novel ideas like natural fermentation with the indigenous yeast strains found on the farm. And most importantly, he's doing all that he can to create a sustainable future for his brewery with his solar energy usage and reducing his water. In the age of so many breweries that are sort of relying on the fact that they're all natural ingredients or made with love and that sort of thing, I feel like Will's taking that next step and producing some beer in a bit of a different way and kind of standing out from the crowd with his whole farmhouse angle. So congratulations to Will. Now on to my favourite beers of the year. I have 3 awards to give. Best Mid. Now you guys all know that I'm a fan of mid-strength beer, and I'm very glad that I found this little beauty earlier on in the year. It's an absolute ripper. I've still got a fond place in my heart for the Little Creatures Rogers Ale. Great beer, but I think this one might be almost about to take it over as my favourite mid-strength beer. The Colonial Small Ale is more than just a beer in a clever can. It's just, this beer ticks all the boxes for me with my mid-strength beer loving. Best dark beer. Well, I couldn't go past the Murray's Wild Thing Imperial Coffee Stout. Bold yet smooth, roasty yet chocolatey, and still packing a punch at 10%. It's decadent and over the top, but I absolutely loved it. Now, the best new beer that I tried this year was something I tried very, very late in the year, and it's recently reviewed on the channel. It's the Modus Operandi Sonic Prayer IPA. Huge aromatics, delicious maltiness, and a punchy bitterness. An absolute winner in my opinion. So guys, there you have it, my highlights of the year from my opinion on this great Australia Day. So anyway, I hope you guys have a sensational Australia Day. Take care of yourselves, and if you entered a beer in the hottest 100 beers, good luck to you all, and can't wait to see what comes out number 1. As usual, till we talk again in the Beer Healer, wherever I am, cheers to great beers.